Let's make a face vase. We're going to start out with creating the base. So we need some white clay. In order to activate the clay, you're going to pull it apart and put it back together several times, stretching it out and placing it back together like this. When you're done, go ahead and roll it up into a ball. Place it down on your mat just here. Flip your mat to the side and press it down. We want our circle to be the same size as the inside circle of the color wheel. Now take one of your cups and place it into the center. With your fingers, you're going to take that slab of clay, that flat pancake, and gently wrap it around the outside of one of these short cups. Use your fingers to help out. It's important that clay does not go over the edge of the cup. So if there's extra clay up there, pull it off and set it aside. We'll be able to use it later. If you form an air bubble inside in between the clay and the cup, take your tool and go ahead and poke a little hole right in the bottom that will release the air. You will do that same action to both cups. Then, the tall cup, we're going to do a similar action. We're going to cover this with white clay as well. This time I'm taking a coil and I'm gently and carefully wrapping it around the entire outside of the tall glass. Be careful not to press too hard so that you break the glass. With this glass, the open side is going to be down on the surface, so we don't want extra clay going over the edges there. But if we have clay on the top part, that's okay. That's what's going to connect this to one of our short cups. Let's connect two of our cups, the tall one and one of the short ones. Placing it right in the center, we're going to firmly press down, and then we have to set it aside so that it can dry. So smooth it out one more time and then set it to dry for at least 12 hours. While you're waiting, you can pre-plan your idea for what you will do with the design of your face vase. But we're also going to do this fun activity of mixing clay. So you're going to open up your primary colors, that is red, yellow, and blue. The yellow will go on the Y, the red will go on the R, the blue will go on the B. With each of these colors, divide them in half with your clay tool. With one half of the clay, we'll leave it right there on the Y, B, and R. With the other half, we will divide that into two pieces as well. Now you're going to split them, and in this case, I put it on either side of the R, then the yellow and the blue. So we have small pieces that are going to be combined. So the two small pieces that were between the yellow and the red, I'm now going to combine those two colors and discover what color I can make. That is beautiful. We will repeat this action with the yellow and blue and the red and blue. If you are not planning on using these right away, be sure to put them in a Ziploc bag or something that you can make sure will protect the clay. I roll it into a cylinder and then place it in the bag. Make sure it's sealed. Now that my white clay is completely dry, I can start adding the color onto my base. So I'm thinking about the base colors, and in this case, I'm going to use a lot of these primary colors and secondary colors that I just created. So I'm using yellow for the skin. You can use a more traditional color for skin that you would see on real people, or you can go abstract like I'm doing, using yellow or another color. I'm adding the base color, so any place I would see the skin on the face, and then other things that would match that as well, such as the ears and the nose. Continuing on, I'm going to cover up all the white spots. So I'm using some purple here and adding what I consider to be a shirt, making sure that it's nice and smooth. I'm going to add a coil at the top here and add some texture using my clay tool. I'm not going to add all my detail right now, such as the texture and this little divider in between the shirt or the pocket, but I'll add a few things that I'm mentioning right now. I do have a little bit of white still left, so I'm going to take some of this orange and place it on that. That's going to become the hair later on. Now I'm going to set this aside and give it some dry time again, and in the meanwhile, I better make sure that all this clay is put away so that it doesn't dry out, and I'm going to start working on a companion or a friend for my face vase. In my case, I'm going to create a little sheep. So I'm going to use the cup that I have not used thus far that is covered with white clay, and I'm going to add this texture onto the cup. What I'll do is roll out a nice long coil and place it on my mat. My mat has some measurements, so I can go ahead and cut my coil up and use each little piece, and it should be roughly about the same size. This is going to create that fluffy looking sheep that I am going for. I will continue with this method until I have completely covered my entire sheep. You might have noticed I also added a face and some legs. I'll be adding some details later on, such as eyes and a tail. Now back to my face vase. Because the base of all those colors are nice and dry, these details are going to go on so nice and successfully. I will add eyes. I could add a mouth, but in my case, I'm going to add a mustache and some details to the hair. I'm thinking about texture quite a bit, so I'm using my clay tool to help me out with that. I am thrilled with the way my face vase and its little friend turned out. Check it out. When the grass is ready to be placed inside, this face vase is going to have some crazy hair.